Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome in. Today we are going to be breaking down every new yellow card that we've got in the Demon Slayer Volume 2 set, as well as diving into some of the Volume 1 cards if you aren't aware, especially because, I mean, you pretty much can't just run Volume 2, so that's definitely important information to start with. If you're not aware, you cannot just dive into Volume 2 if this is your first ever Demon Slayer set, at least if you're planning on playing. There is a lot of cards, especially in yellow, that you want to pick up from Volume 1, so just keep that in mind. But there are some really good new standout cards from Volume 2 that you are going to want to pick up for those Volume 1 decks, no question. So yeah, if you aren't aware, there's pretty much two different decks in yellow that you're able to build. We've got the Tanjiro and Nezuko deck that we got very small additions for, but very good additions, a very necessary one, a very good new color trigger, and Nezuko. And then the other one is essentially going to be the Hashira deck. In my opinion, I really like the Tanjiro Nezuko deck. This is one of my favorite decks in Union. It just plays so well, playing out a sideline, going for multi-attacks, impact and stuff with the Tanjiro, free plays with the Tanjiro raid. It does a lot. It can kind of run out of steams at time. It's one of those sort of high roll decks where you do need to see the setup to really make it flow, but man, can it flow. It's such a good deck. So it's kind of understandable that we got very little buffs for it, literally 2 cards, but we'll be diving into those and breaking them down. Then the Hashira set getting a lot of new additions, on top of the fact that we also got the premium binder set a little early. If you don't know these cards here specifically, we got early in the first Volume 1 where they were like a premium binder collection, sort of like Bleach was in Japan. But yeah, the Hashira set here, playing into the whole still no raids. If you don't know, there's literally no Hashira raids, which I feel like does sort of set the deck back, but it's getting a lot of cards where you're able to set characters to active. So I essentially is going to play around the whole need for raids, because there are some really good abilities in this deck. It just comes down to being aggressive, right? Without raids and having cards active the turn you play them, it's going to be hard to be aggressive fast, you know. So with cards being able to come out set to active with some other nice additions that we got, I think Hashira is going to definitely stand out a little bit for sure, because it already was a good set. It was just missing the fact that the cards were not coming out active. But yeah, taking a look at the brand new 4-cost Tanjiro here, we'll knock the 2 new cards out of the way for Tanjiro Nezuko. During your turn, if on the front line, Nezuko cards on your field cannot be chosen by your opponent's characters or trigger abilities. And that's just during your turn, so it's just going to be while you're attacking. But that's so good because we'll bounce back to him to finish the rest of his card. Essentially, what the whole deck is playing around is the Nezuko swap, right? When attacking, you may choose one Tanjiro on your front line, and one other character on your energy line doesn't have to be Tanjiro, and you get to swap them. The best way to make this effective, though, is to attack with Nezuko second, right? You want to swap a rested Tanjiro, aka Tanjiro that's already attacked. So it's going to be awesome swinging in with, for example, Impact Tanjiro here for our very first attacker. We unfortunately hit a special, and we have our active Nezuko here who wants to swap a card. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter now because we've got, where is he at? The brand new color trigger Tanjiro, who's going to protect the Nezuko from the special trigger. So now your opponent, still has other options. I'm sure this guy, for example. But it's going to be really nice that you're able to get the swap off still. Maybe you force them into getting rid of the rested card here. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We're just happy that our Nezuko's staying alive, and we're able to get the swap off now because now she's not being targeted. So that's going to be a really nice addition to the deck. On top of the fact that, where is he at? On top of the fact that the only other color trigger that we had to run for Tanjiro was this not so great 4-cost and 2 action point, which just plays against what the deck's trying to do. When played, you get to choose a character with 3k or less on your opponent's front line, sideline it. Not the most menacing because it's just a 3k. He is a 4k though. Where I'm getting at though is I personally just ended up cutting him completely, and it sucked because the yellow color trigger is so good. Not having this in the deck felt kind of bad, but I was playing such an aggressive game, I wasn't worried about defense. That's another story and doesn't matter anymore because now we can actually run the color trigger, who, yeah, again, that 2 action points I just feel like really killed it. Now we got the 1 action point who's got way better abilities too. When played also on top of it all, you may switch one active Nezuko on your front line to resting. If you do, switch this character to active. So, man, is he going to just really help with these super strong aggro games that we were already trying to play. It's crazy how this one card is going to just really buff the deck. We also got a new 0-cost Nezuko, which we'll just get it out of the way right now. When played, draw and trash a card, draw trigger. Honestly, fantastic addition. But the last thing to mention about this is really good combo that you could do with this when played is simply you had this card active from the previous turn, the 0, for example, whatever raid Nezuko you want to raid on top of. You just rest her, set your Tanjiro to active, and then you just raid your Nezuko on top of the card you rested. Boom. Now it didn't even matter. Resting one of your cards didn't even affect you at all. this is gonna play out for some strong games for sure. And yeah, if you don't know, the Tanjiro is just such a good raid card because on top of it all, he has the when played, he has impact for one, unconditional. When played, you get to add one Nezuko card with 3 or less required energy and 1 action point. They all have 1. Except from the starter deck, whatever. From your sideline to your hand, play up to 1 Nezuko as well with 3 or less required energy. Like, what? This 1 raid card for 1 action point not just has impact, but also revives a Nezuko from our sideline and allows us to play a rested Nezuko for free. This card's so strong. This card's so strong. This is such a good ability. On top of the fact that all of our Nezukos are 3 or less, so while you can't raid for free off of his ability, you can more than happily just take this raid from your sideline, play a raid target rested, and then just raid on top of it. Like, I love Tanjiro Nezuko. I really hope the deck stands out again. Again, the big issue with the deck is it does sort of run out of steam. In my opinion, one of my favorite cards for the deck to help it hopefully not run out of steam is Comrades. I've seen a lot of success from this card. Even though there's a no trigger, you just got to keep the mentality of we're here to swing so fast, you know, get everything set up so fast and perfect that we don't care about our life, right? No triggers, bad triggers, whatever. We're just here to get as many attacks off as fast as possible against our opponent. And this card helps. 2 cost, look at the top 5 cards, and you get to take any 2, Tanjiro, Nezuko, if you happen to be running Zenitsu or Nyosuke. You can take any of the 2, add them to your hand with no trash either. So good, so good. So highly recommend Comrades if you're running this. Obviously, there's the whole starter deck as well, which does still play really well into the deck. The 4 cost, who's going to be a when played. If Nezuko's on your field, he's going to be a 4,500 impact till the start of your next turn. So if your opponent doesn't special him, he's able to block one of your opponent's 4Ks, which isn't normal, I'd say, especially in an aggro deck. Like, yeah, I really enjoy Tanjiro Nezuko. Generic, special, and yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a search Zenitsu. I could get behind him, but personally, I'm here for Tanjiros and Nezukos. That's the only 2 names I want to see in my deck for raid purposes and swapping, right? But there is this 2-cost Zenitsu who, when played, you can look at the top 4, reveal a Tanjiro, Nezuko, or a Inosuke, add it to your hand, then you have to trash a card. I mean, that can be good, but me personally, I haven't ran him, and I've seen really good success with the deck. Last thing to mention on Tanjiro and Nezuko is in Volume 1, we did get this binder collection. All these cards here were essentially part of like the NA binder bleach set, if you guys saw. They got a Japanese version for Demon Slayer like a year or 2 ago. And instead of them giving us the binder selection, they literally just added those cards to the main set. So these cards, in my opinion, are really big standouts if you're building Hashira or Tanjiro Nezuko. Make sure you're looking at these cards because they will be great additions, especially like Muichiro and stuff. But Tanjiro Nezuko, I'm running 4 of each just because they are such good cards and they play into the deck so perfect. 3-cost Tanjiro during your turn, once per turn when a character on your field moves during your attack phase, which is, you know, the Nezuko swapping. You can choose up to 1 character on your field and it gains 1000 BP till the end of the turn. So you could literally, if you're swapping him up from your energy line with Nezuko, make him a 4K, or any other Tanjiros or Nezukos who are going up from the energy line. If they're 3s, guess what? Now they're 4Ks. I really like this card. He helps the deck stay very aggressive, as well as this 1-cost Nezuko who early game, just like your 2nd or 3rd turn, you can already start your mini swapping here. So if on the energy line at the start of your attack phase, choose 1 character on your front line, you may swap it with this character with a draw trigger 2k BP. What's really dope about this card is like just early game, you ramp with her, you play her rested. The next turn, you use her to ramp again, right, to play your cards out you need her on the energy line. But then you play a card rested on your front line. Hell, you could even play, if you're doing really well here, you go 1-2, 1-2, 3. You play him out on your front line here, and then you just swap him with her, right? And now you've got a front line active attacker, and you've got your energy generated on the back line. Rather than having to, like, for example, with this 3-cost in most decks, you'd have to go 1, 2, 3, keep all 3 of those characters on the energy line, and then play him down, right? But no, you can play him on the front line and then swap him, no problem. Yeah, anyways, I really like Tanjiro Nezuko. Very good deck. I don't think it needed more than 2 cards. I mean, maybe it did. I don't know. We're going to have to see. I think the deck just kind of balances out now. It's going to be a really good deck. I think when it released, it was disgusting and very top tier. And, you know, there wasn't many decks at the time anyways. But yeah, with that, yeah, these 2 cards, fantastic additions. Draw Trash and Nezuko, new raid target. Oh, and last niche card that I've ran, even just as a one of, and when it shows up, it can really pop off. 2-cost Butterfly Mansion. It's a site that you can ramp with, which is pretty much how you want to play it. Active main, switch to resting, sideline this card. You can add up to 2 yellow characters with 3 or less required energy from sideline to hand. Because again, the big issue with Tanjiro Nezuko that I ran into when I played it was running out of cards, not having enough draw power to keep myself in the game long. With this Butterfly Mansion and the Comrades card, it really helps solve those issues and helps you get cards back into your hand for sure. Replay cards or find them. Where the hell's Comrades? Yeah, back here. Yeah, Comrades is a starter deck exclusive card, by the way. Did want to mention that. All the cards, if you're on this website especially, but if you're looking here, pretty much all the cards from... Yeah, all the cards from, I believe, Zenitsu on are starter deck exclusives. While you can find all of these in the main set as an alternate art, I believe the 0-cost Zenitsu and down are going to be literally only in the starter deck. So yeah, Comrades, that's where you're going to find that. Oh yeah, the 2-action point Nezuko is a 4-cost. Man, this card's so bad. And then diving into the yellow Hashira cards here, we got some pretty nice additions that I really hope help Hashira stand out, because it was a good deck. And it had a lot of cards that offered really strong, interesting abilities. But at the end of the day, I just felt like it was just a little too slow. Like, without raids, the only card that would be able to play out set to active, the only card is this one Sonami, and you would need 6 other Hashiras on the field. 6. Or you can include Kaguya in that. They're all going to say that, by the way. Every Hashira is either Kaguya or a mix of with the mix of the Hashiras when you're counting the numbers. Anyways, yeah, so he can come out with you when you have 6 or more others, so you can't even count him. If you have a combined total of 6 or more other, yeah, that's crazy. You can come out active, which isn't bad, and he's a 4K on your turn as long as you have a combined total of 3 or more. But it felt bad that he was the only one, right? Other than that, you were just playing really slow, it felt like. Just slapping down bodies and hoping they did stuff. On top of that, the Mitsuri here is a really good removal color trigger, but you have to play her on the front line. And once you have a combined total of 6 or more, you can sideline a 4K, which can feel pretty good when it happens. But it doesn't feel good that you have to play her rested, and she only ever just dies. She never gets to attack. But a lot of these problems are solved in the new volume here, Volume 2. Starting it out with this very, very, very good looking Zero. Our Kaguya, active main, switch to resting, sideline him, choose 1 Hashira affinity card on your field, switch it to active. So, granted, we are going to be losing bodies throughout this. Hopefully, we are able to, keep the board full to the point where that doesn't matter, and we're able to play those cards set to active, essentially. Any Hashira on the decks. That's going to be really good. Also, I did want to mention, I haven't experimented too much with Hashira. I've spent a lot of time in Tanjiro Nezuko, but I did want to say, with my experimenting, I did feel like Guillaume was one of the best additions to the deck, since you're trying to keep your board full with Hashira cards, right? Because you're trying to hit those 6 or mores. He's a great addition because when played, you can trash 1 card from your hand, and if you do, you get to play any Hashira from your hand set to resting onto the field without having to pay the additional action point cost. It has to be a 1 action point. It has to be, you have to have the required energy fulfilled, but he's essentially a 2 body for 1 action point. That is so good. So, in my opinion, he's going to be a card you definitely want to run to help keep your board full, as well as Muichiro here, by the way, who is a double energy generator, as long as you have 3 or more other others of the Hashira or Kaguya. Very good 2-cost double energy generator, because again, most games you're going to be able to just slap him down as a double energy gen 2-cost. Very strong. We also got this 2-cost Mitsuri card here, who active main if on the front line. You can place 1 card from your hand into the sideline, and if you do, you can choose a card with 2 action points and Hashira affinity and switch it to active. This is going to be a little more specific because not every Hashira is 2 action point, but you do have quite a few options in this set. Obviously, we have the removal Mitsuri, who instantly gets a lot more value now that she can come out active and remove something, hopefully. We've also got the really, really strong SR 2AP Muichiro, who freezes something when played, but now he can also come out active. And on top of that, his 1 sideline to rest a card can be so good, just for like some, slowing down your opponent. Hashira plays a slow game, but can also really, really slow down your opponent. I love it. Some other 2 action points. I mean, yeah, Giyu might gain some value from this. The starter deck Giyu. I haven't really ever ran him, but he's a 2 action point impact. When played, you can choose a character on your opponent's front line and rest it, and you get to draw. I mean, that's a pretty fantastic end game card for sure. Generally, impact doesn't really matter until your opponent's low on life. Same with resting cards, right? Especially because your opponent probably doesn't have a ton of cards. Honestly, this is a pretty good card. He might have gained some value with the set active Mitsuri for sure. And then we also got a brand new Giyu 2 action point, who, if you have a combined total of 3 or more Kageyas or Hashiras, he actually is a 1 action point while in your hand. But he is a printed 2 action point, so you can still target him with the Mitsuri ability. But yeah, he essentially plays out as a 1 action point, which is very strong. Also on top of that, when attacking, if you have a combined total of the 6 or more, you can target one other Hashira card on your front line and give it 1500 BP till the end of the turn. And that works great for cards like Mitsuri right here, who, if you're setting the Giyu active with the Mitsuri ability and she's active, now he can help her swing as a 45. It's gonna be a pretty strong deck. I think it definitely got some really nice additions. Playing into the whole 2 action point gimmick as well, we got a new Muichiro, active main if on the front line. Once per turn, you can choose one character on your field with 2 action points and Hashira, and it gains impact +1 until the end of the turn. Essentially, I mean, just giving your 2 action points impact for the most part, right? Actually, is there any damage 2s in this? Not necessarily. There's a... Oh, yeah, Guillaume couldn't even... Yeah. I'd say the Muichiro's definitely more niche for sure, but at the end of the day, giving a card impact is very nice. And it's an active main, so what's really nice about this is you can play him as part of your ramp or whatever, use him for whatever uses you're going to do, and as long as he's alive and on the board towards the end of the game, you have a character who can just give you impact, hopefully, right, on one of your 2 action points. So not a bad card for sure. A little conditional, but a little situational, but great for just ending the game, no question. Because normally I feel like with these give impacts, they feel bad when they're on like a when played, because it's like, do I hold on to this card? Is it going to feel wasted? But if they can just chill on the board, he's a 3500 to help you with pressure as well, blocking, attacking, whatever. He does have to be on the front line, keep that in mind. But yeah, you just push him up at the end of the game. If he's on the energy line, whatever it may be, he's just a board presence that just, you pop him on the front line, active main, and don't have to pay anything. You just give a card an impact. That can be a great way to just end a game. But yeah, while Yellow Hashira definitely has a lot of different strong builds that you can make within the deck, a lot of different versatility, a lot of different mixes that I'm sure we're going to see with Hashira that do play well. If there's any sort of a split we see between the types of decks, I guess you could sort of shoot for like a 2 action point deck where you really are squeezing in a lot of the 2 action points as well as these cards to make sure you're getting these abilities off often. But yeah, that's something I really like about the Yellow Hashira deck is there's a lot of flavor, there's a lot of versatility, and they all work together for whatever type of game plan you want to shoot for. All I can say is, at the end of the day, I feel like he's going to be a must-run 4 of, no question. And if you have enough 2 action points, try to get 4 of her in there as well. Because, yeah, just playing cards set to active is what this deck needs. And then we also got a brand new 3-cost Shinobu who's going to be really, really strong with step double energy generation. She's only at 2500, but it plays really well into her ability when this character attacks and loses a battle, aka if she attacks and gets blocked, you get to draw a card. So, I mean, your opponent's not going to just let an attack go through because they don't want you to draw, so she's pretty much a free draw every turn. With step allowing you to push her back onto the energy line once you're done using her for her draw ability. And then she also has a when sidelined if this character has been sidelined due to its BP being reduced to 0, or by an ability, you get to draw a card as well. So just an amazing double energy generator, step card for pressure, or just a blocker at some point. Get her back for energy generation, and just really good draw power. This is a really nice addition to the set for sure. And then some of the non-Hashira additions that we got 1-cost Aoi. When played, you may place 1 card from your hand to the sideline. If you do, add up to 1 yellow character with 3 or less required energy from your sideline to hand. Honestly, not a bad addition. I could see this in Tanjiro Nezuko as well, potentially. But again, you're playing for Tanjiro Nezuko's in one deck, and you're playing for Hashira affinities on the field in the other one. It's going to be really hard to put in cards that are neither of those, right? But at the end of the day, playing a body just to revive a character with 3 or less too from sideline, this would not be a terrible like 2 of. Pops up at like the best situations where you're just not seeing the raid targets you want or that very specific 3 cost. Could be a good addition for sure. I just don't know if I'm running 4 of this card. But it's not bad. Man, now that I read it though, I do think I'm going to splash this into Tanjiro Nezuko. Because again, that's its big issue, right? It wants to recycle more cards. It wants to, if it runs out of steam, either draw cards or get them from sideline. This could be a really good addition for sure. 3-cost Tamayo active main switch to resting. Your opponent places 1 card from their sideline into their removal. If they have 10 or more cards in their sideline, 2 cards instead. This card's literally just a Muzan counter. What other cards are building up sideline? Saitama? Oh no! This is a massive Saitama counter. Oh jeez. But yeah, very specific, but man, is this going to shut down those decks where they're trying to get to 15, 20 plus in sideline or whatever, any number. And in general, even going up against stuff where you know they're playing at a sideline, which is quite a few decks. Actually, Tamayo's got some value. Those, because decks that play out a sideline or depend on sideline are strong when it works. So being able to counter them, this is pretty nuts. And it's an active main switch to resting, so every single turn you can just force your opponent to remove cards from their sideline. Wow, this is actually a great counter to definitely Muzan, obviously, but like as a Saitama player, I'm devastated. I never want to see this card. Active trigger as well with double energy generation too, so she genuinely can just chill on the energy line and just ruin your opponent's day. Holy crap. That's really good. And then 0 cost Yushiro. If Tamayo is on the field, this character is going to be a 3k all the time too, so as a 3k 0 cost. I mean, you could splash him in. If you're splashing her in and you need a 0, he's not a bad addition. Straight up 3k 0. Holy. 2 cost nursing. Add 1 character from your sideline to hand with a draw trigger. I wish this was like a free action or something. I just feel like paying an entire action point to simply take a character from sideline to hand isn't great. Granted, there's no restriction. The site and like the character do have a 3 cost restriction, so you can grab 4s or more with this. But I feel like I'd rather, for the same action point cost, play a character on the field who can block or attack or whatever, generate energy for me, and also revive, right? I just don't think this event card's going to see too much play for that reason, but we'll see. We'll see. It's a revive at the end of the day, right? Monster Reborn, not really. And then, yeah, that's going to be every brand new yellow card that we got in the Volume 2 Demon Slayer set. I did want to point out some other standout cards for the Hashira deck here. I wanted to say this. Sanami, I think, is going to be a fantastic addition to this deck now. Already loved him before. It did suck that he had to wait a turn to get his double attack off, but it doesn't matter if they're 2k or not. Double attack is strong. He's also a double energy generator, and now we can set him active too with our Kaguya. So this is going to be a really nice addition, I think. Because again, at the end of the day, 5 attacks is 5 attacks, right? Essentially, he's up there with 3 other attackers. It's going to be good. Forcing your opponent to block, whatever it may be. He's allowing you to get more attacks, and especially for endgame, it's just a free, like, with 5 attacks, you're gonna win that. A card I'm curious, I'm sure people see the value. I like him. I think he could be good. 6 cost Guillaume. He's a printed 4,500, which is always really nice for blocking 4Ks and stuff like that. He's only 1 action point too, and if you have the combined total of 3 or more Kaguya or Hashiras, which you are if you're playing a 6 cost, he's going to have impact, so nice little end gamer. You probably don't need him though with the new additions, but he's nice. And then another one, 4 cost Rengoku. I feel like there's enough active triggers in the Hashira set, especially if you want to try to prioritize more of them. You know, there's good options where if you get enough of these active triggers and they pop them in life with your double blocker, you're getting 7k double blocks off. This is definitely a nice little addition I can see to the deck for sure. On top of the fact that you only need 3 or more others, I feel like you're going to see the 3 or mores way more often than the 6, obviously. So definitely a good addition. He's a 4k. I think he could be really, really good. On top of that, if you aren't aware, the Hashira meeting event card is pretty much a must run of 4. There's no reason not to, right? It's a 2 cost. Look at the top 4. Reveal any card. Add it to your hand. Place the rest on the bottom of your deck. But if the card you revealed is a Hashira, which obviously that's what you're trying to do, right? Grab Hashira characters. You get to choose an action point and switch it to active. So this is essentially a free deck thinner, right? This could be really, really good. Now, unfortunately, if you bottom deck specials, finals, and stuff, I mean, you can still grab any card if you really want to not do that, which is really nice. But yeah, free searching, we love free searching. If it doesn't cost an action point, I'll take it, you know? So yeah, really, really good. Hashira meeting is fantastic. And then as I was saying, a lot of the like premium binder collection that we got in Volume 1, a lot of these cards are really, really, really good. Just having a 0 Hashira card with a draw trigger is fantastic. He's a great addition as a 0. Just simply that can be really, really strong. Another really, really good card, this 0 cost Mitsuri, who just for an action point can swing as a 4K. You have to pay an extra action, right, once she's active, but that's really, really, really strong. Can play for some really nice pressure that your opponent doesn't really see coming. 4 cost Shinobu here can actually reduce your opponent's cards by 1,000, which can play out for some really strong turns, just allowing you to get more attacks in and stuff like that. And then definitely my favorite two, and I think I mentioned them earlier, is the 2-cost Muichiro, who can be played out as a double energy generator, essentially. Early game, maybe not, but you can definitely make him a double energy gen most of the time, as long as you have the 3 or more others on the field. And then Guillaume, who can allow you to do the free plays. It does suck that some of these really, really good Hashira cards that you are probably going to want to try to run don't have triggers. That's where these like binder collection cards is like, man, they have really good abilities and I want to run them, but holy crap, the no triggers stack up, right? But I feel like some of them are worth it, right? Especially Guillaume for the free play, essentially. You do have to trash a card, but filling up your board with bodies, that's like the main game plan of Hashira, because you're trying to get to the 6 or others as fast as possible. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious to see what the builds are going to look like. Again, I'm definitely, I mean, there's not much splashing in for Tanjiro Nezuko, right? There's not much experimenting to do at this point. Get the color trigger in, find a 0 to cut. That's pretty much all the new cards. But when it comes to Hashira, yeah, we definitely have some builds to experiment with. Are we going to see a lot more 2 action point heavy builds where we're seeing Mitsuri and Muichiro sort of spammed a little bit? Or are we going to, you know, at least splash in the Mitsuris for sure, but not really try to lean too heavily into the 2 action points? We're going to see. It's going to be really interesting. But in general, having essentially 8 new cards that you can have in your deck, 4 of the Mitsuris, 4 of the Kageyas, to just now set characters to active is going to be very, very strong. The big question is going to be, how are you supplementing what you're paying, right? Because you have to trash a card for this Mitsuri. You have to sideline this Kaguya on the field to set a character active. I don't think it's going to be too hard, but I think that's where like the Guillaume for free plays, or like the draw power from like the new Shinobu, are really, really going to be important. Oh, and last Hashira card I wanted to mention, there's probably others that are really good too, but I still think I'm probably going to run him. 1-cost Kaguya. Active main, you switch him to resting. You do have to trash a card, and you have to sideline him, but you get to choose one of your action points and switch it to active. So just having him set up on the board, even if you're just using him one time at the very end of the game to go for this insane game-ending play because he's allowing you to get a full action point back, I think this card is still like nuts, dude. I think this is still nuts. A body that can turn himself into an action point. That's crazy. Again, the trashing one and the energy is going to be the only thing you need to keep in mind. But yeah, with that, guys, that is every single brand new Volume 2 Demon Slayer card that we've got in yellow. I should have the full blue color broken down by now, and the other colors on the way. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Appreciate you guys listening, and hopefully this helps you get prepared for Demon Slayer, even if you did dive into Volume 1, or especially if you haven't played any Union Arena, and this is one of your first sets, first Demon Slayer sets especially. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what decks you guys are excited to build. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!